We start our broadcast with the Wells Report front page, which is a digest of news that happened after the show yesterday and while we were sleeping. The National Front whistleblowers have their say. This was one of those hearings where several different committees, Oversight Committee, Judiciary Committee, and Ways and Means, all come together for an important hearing, and it certainly was. Two whistleblowers provided Congress with their side of the story from years-long investigations into Hunter Biden. He has become a lightning rod for Republican allegations about a two-tiered legal system in the United States. Speaking to leaders of three powerful House committees who held a joint hearing yesterday, Internal Revenue Service employees Greg Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, who was previously known as Whistleblower X, alleged the U.S. Justice Department slow-walked the investigation into President Joe Biden's youngest son. It appeared to me, based on what I experienced, that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, in our investigation, was constantly hamstrung, limited, and marginalized by the Department of Justice, as well as other U.S. attorneys. That damaging testimony had Democrats scrambling for some explanation. The two IRS whistleblowers who alleged the Justice Department meddled in an investigation into President Biden's son Hunter were not convincing, according to Fox News. Quote, I believe that they believe themselves. Whether they are right or wrong, really it's in the mind and determination of other people, said Representative Kwesi Mfume. I happen to believe that they're wasting time on this, referring to the committees. Representative Daniel Goldman of New York told Fox News they are good faith actors who misconstrue the third-hand information they received. I think they were frustrated that the case did not move forward as they had hoped after all their hours, said the New York Democrat. They were frustrated that they were removed from the case after there were significant leaks to the Washington Post and began expressing their frustration in this way. Hunter Biden's legal team alleged the whistleblowers leaked investigative information to the Washington Post, but the two whistleblowers' lawyers have pushed back against that claim. At the hearing, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, after saying, I would like to let the committee and everyone watching at home know that parental discretion is advised, showed what appeared to be sexually explicit images of Hunter Biden, the president's son, during a hearing at the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. The committee was hearing testimony from two Internal Revenue Service whistleblowers involved in an investigation into the Biden taxes when Greene, during her questioning, produced graphic poster boards. While the faces of the other people in the photographs were blocked with black boxes, what appeared to be Hunter's face was not censored. Near the end of her questioning, Greene showed the graphic images, suggesting without any evidence that they showed Hunter Biden making pornography and sparking immediate protests from other members of the panel. In state news today, first out of Illinois, no cash bail law that we reported yesterday is called the most dangerous law in America. This from Fox News. Sheriffs in southern Illinois say they are bracing for more crime and more victims insofar as there is an end of cash bail based on a law coming to their state. Folks who live here are extremely concerned, said Franklin County Sheriff Kyle Bacon, talking to Fox News. It's an experience on the backs of victims of crime. I have serious concerns, and so do the people who live here. On Tuesday of this week, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled in favor of eliminating the state's cash bail system. The ruling takes effect September 18th, making Illinois the first state to fully abolish cash bail. Under the new law, judges across Illinois will not require those charged with a crime to post bail in order to be released from jail while they await trial, unless the judge determines them to be a threat to the public or a flight risk. Sheriff Jeff Ballard of Jefferson County said law enforcement and attorneys will be the ones who bear the brunt of these charges. We did our job. We arrested them. We incarcerated them, Ballard told Fox News. And then the state's attorney makes the argument that they should be remanded for trial, and the judge, based on the SAFE-T Act and the guidelines there, say, now I'm forced to let them go. That's going to increase crime victim frustration. We share that frustration with them, the sheriff said. In Missouri, an activist called out the St. Louis School Board. in somewhat spectacular fashion. A local activist wants to hold the St. Louis Public Schools, the SLPS, accountable for poor education outcomes for Black students within the district. Chester Asher urged the SLPS school board on July 11th to address dismal academic outcomes of Black students within the school district, which make up about 80% of the students. Asher's speech was the first as the public comment period began. He began his remarks by listing statistics about academic performance in the district, claiming that 10% of students within the district can read at grade level. Asher proceeded to list the name of the schools within the district, which include Jefferson Elementary School and Washington Montessori Elementary School, referring to them as, quote, the slave owners that welcome our children each morning, unquote. Furthermore, Asher, who is African American, argued that poor education outcomes lead to incarceration, that poor reading skills would make applying for a job very difficult. Quote, we will not stand here while you engage in faux deliberation or remain silent while you pave the way for incarceration, Asher told the school board. You applaud yourself while allowing your schools to pile Black bodies on tops of piles of Black bodies, because that is the result of an education system that does not educate. By the way, Asher is the founder and CEO of Ali Academy in St. Louis. The school's website states that 80% of children in St. Louis are not able to read, write, and do basic math on grade level. Here in Texas, Texas has been ranked the worst U.S. state to live in. This from CNBC. They released their rankings of the best and worst states in which to live in the U.S. last week. Its rankings come from the network's yearly research on the best states for business in 2023. One of the 10 criteria for the list is life, health, and inclusion, from which CNBC determines the best and worst states to live. CNBC allots 350 possible points to each state, measuring categories such as per capita crime rates, environmental quality, healthcare, and worker protections. The research also examines anti-discrimination laws, voting rights, and access to child care. Surveys indicate a large percentage of women consider reproductive rights in deciding where they're willing to live and work, according to CNBC. By the way, the reports include abortion laws in the category of livability. Texas received the number one spot in the top 10 worst places in America to live and work in 2023. In music, country singer Jason Aldean, still facing significant backlash after the music video for his song Try That in a Small Town, was released as a video last Friday. Now the production company behind the project is defending the controversial filming location. The latest circumstance surrounding this particular music video from the 46-year-old country star slams the song's lyrics, which some perceive as having racial undertones and promoting pro-lynching messages. But the singer has strongly denied those claims. Critics also blasted Aldean over the music video, the majority of which was filmed at the Maury County Courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee, which was the site of a 1927 lynching and a 1946 race riot. News footage of looting and fires that were taken during the 2020 riots were also projected on the courthouse and in the video. However, Tacklebox, a company that produced the music video, told Fox News that the courthouse is a popular filming location outside Nashville. It's been featured most recently in the 2022 Lifetime original television movie Steppin' Into the Holiday, starring Mario Lopez and Jana Kramer. In addition, Tacklebox noticed that the five-time Grammy Award nominee did not pick the location for the video. In international news this morning, the Biden administration is cutting off funding for the Wuhan Institute of Virology, says National Pulse. This happens to be in China. The Department of Health and Human Services admits now that it is not compliant with federal regulations related to biosafety. The National Pulse first reported the U.S. involvement in Wuhan along with complicity of Anthony Fauci in 2021. The move was undertaken because of the Wuhan Infectious Institute's failure to provide documentation on the WIV research requested by the U.S. National Institutes of Health related to concerns that the WIV violated. NIH's biosafety protocols, an HHS spokesman explained. A memorandum on the cutoff said the Wuhan lab has not previously violated, but is currently violating and will continue to violate protocols of the NIH biosafety, and that the immediate suspension of the WIV is necessary to mitigate any potential public health risk. The Wuhan Institute was identified early by National Pulse as the epicenter of COVID 19. This was followed by years of denial and accusations of conspiracy peddling. By 2023, however, a number of U.S. and European agencies came to admit the Wuhan lab was most likely to be the source of COVID. This also includes the World Health Organization. Out of Auckland, New Zealand, CNN reports a rare multiple shooting at the center of Auckland just hours before the opening of the Women's World Cup. It rattled the city as tens of thousands gathered to watch New Zealand play Norway in the first game of the tournament. Emergency services rushed to the city's central business district just after 7 a.m. local time after reports that a man armed with a pump-action shotgun had opened fire on a construction site. New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins outlined details of the attack in a hastily called news conference, confirming that 3 people had died, including the gunman, and several others were injured. He moved through the building site, discharging the firearm as he went, said Hipkins. Upon reaching the upper levels of the building, the man contained himself in an elevator. Shots were fired. He was located a short time later. Hipkins said the actions of police officers who ran straight to the gunfire into harm's way in order to save the lives of others were nothing short of heroic. New Zealand police said the shooting did not pose a national security risk. Officials confirmed the Women's World Cup opening ceremony and the first game would go ahead as planned. New Zealand introduced strict gun laws in 2019 after a mass shooting at Christchurch, leaving 50 people dead, that led to strict new laws curbing firearms that passed in a matter of days.